The sigh, not a good sigh, but the sigh after a loss. Welcome back in, guys. Jake Ellenbogen here, and this is JE Live, following the Rams' unfortunate 28-16 loss in front of the entire country on Sunday Night Football against the number one team in the AFC, which I think I think it's very safe to say that they deserve that title. They're 7-2. They are still in the lead in the AFC. The Rams are joining all sorts of teams that lost today, including the Cowboys, the Packers, and not to mention the Bills. So a lot of teams that obviously went down today. A lot of good teams around the league. With this loss, I will say this: I thought the defense played excellent. Really, they gave up 7 points. When it actually mattered down the stretch. I mean, I can't stress enough the last drive the Titans had, which I'll be honest with you, I think the Titans defense is really good. Their offense seemed really pedestrian without Derrick Henry. The Rams held A.J. Brown and Julio Jones combined to 77 yards receiving on 7 receptions. Not 7, 9 receptions. I don't feel like the Titans offense, and this is why I kept hearing like when people like the Titans are dominating this game, the Titans offense was not. The Rams defense played very well, and the 28 points, one of which is a pick six, another was practically a pick six. They had the ball at the goal line. Another was aided by the officiating, giving 2, which is one of the worst, unnecessary roughness, roughing the passer quarterback calls I've ever seen. On that drive. So really unfortunate there. I think what it comes down to is this. The defense played as well as you could ask. The Rams offense did not. And what it really comes down to is the fact that the Titans had a game plan. You could see early on Matthew Stafford seemed like he looked pretty good, but then, on that first drive, he got sacked twice. Why did he get sacked twice? Well, he held on to the ball too long. Why did he hold on to the ball too long? Because there was coverage downfield. Some great coverage, I might add. And so I think the coverage sacks, obviously were big there. The Titans, dropped 8 men, in coverage early on in the game. And I think that really spooked the Rams offense. Now, here's the thing. You have Darrell Henderson running 11 carries, 55 yards on the ground. That's 5 yards per carry. Once again, Sony Michel, 7 carries for 20 yards, averaging under 3 yards per carry. Felt like they really abandoned the run in this one. Felt like they could have run a lot more. And they were honestly having way more success with, Darrell Henderson. I just don't really understand why they didn't do that. So just a lot to unpack here. But, at the end of the day, the Rams are 7-2. They're not 2-7. They lost to a very good football team in the Tennessee Titans. And, they have a huge Monday Night Football game against their rival 49ers where they have to get, or rather Sean McVay has to get that monkey off his back. And we all know what that is because he hasn't been able to beat Kyle Shanahan as of late. So that's going to be a huge game, and we'll see what ends up happening. But just looking at this game, from a football perspective, I think, you have to feel good about the defense moving forward and adding Von Miller. If they didn't have Von Miller in this game, honestly, I think he probably could have played. They probably, were trying to be cautious. Who knows? Maybe if he plays, they get one of those turnovers they needed. Who knows? Hindsight's 2020. But I think just looking at the offense, I thought you saw some good things out of Robert Woods, yards after the catch. You saw some good things out of Cooper Kupp, Tyler Higbee, getting involved for 5 catches for 51 yards. So what went wrong? What happened with this offense? Well, first off, one of the best offensive lines in the league in the Rams offensive line really just struggled today. That's really what it came down to tonight. They just, they had a hard time protecting Matthew Stafford, keeping him upright, and that's really what happened there. That's a big thing. On top of that, I would just say this, Matthew Stafford was not playing his best game either. There were times where he held on to the ball. He should have gotten rid of it. I thought Sean McVay really dropped the ball. Look, Sean McVay, we talk about how undefeated he is, when the Rams are up at halftime, but when the Rams aren't leading in halftime, it's incredibly difficult to assume the Rams are going to come back and win. They just don't come back. I had this realization because we think about the time they came back against the Bills and, you know, they've had comebacks, right? But we never talk about the fact the Rams just simply do not finish the comeback. They just don't. And I don't know if it's a McVay thing or what, but they have not done that under Sean McVay. Find me the last time, they came back from 14 down and won the game. Because I don't remember it. I don't. That's the thing, is that I just don't feel like this team is built to come back. And notice this started off the same way Arizona did with the turnover. You know, the Rams, yeah, they'll score first. They kick the field goal. They take a 3-0 lead. They have a turnover. All of a sudden, that turnover, it unravels them. And I'm starting to notice that. And so, you know what it comes down to is Sean McVay, one, has got to stop abandoning the run. Two, I think that, you know, the play calling was pretty bad at times. I mean, when you look at the 4th down call, you know, when you had Stafford once again play action, you're barely running the football as it is, and you're down by multiple scores. They're not going to bite on that. So just all in all, a really disappointing night. To wait all week for something like this. I mean, for me, you know, I'm constantly working from home. I don't go to school. I don't have to go into the office, thank God. But a lot of you out there do. A lot of you out there, this is your stress relief. This is what you waited all week for. This is what you went to work and you earned this. And just to see your team falter like this is really upsetting, especially while you have to get those stupid text messages from your drunk buddies that are, you know, either Cowboys fans or Niners fans, whatever, that are, you know, texting you and saying, hey, you know, how about them Rams? And you're going to get that. But what I would ask you to, take and keep in mind is the fact that at the end of the day, the Rams are 7-2, okay? So this sucks. I hate when my team loses, obviously. I hate especially when it seems like nothing goes right. I did not have one single, daily fantasy thing. I submitted a bunch of lineups today, felt really confident, had some injuries early on with Chase Edmonds and, Jamar Chase dropping a touchdown and Joe Burrow turning into whatever he turned into today. Nothing went well in fantasy, DFS, any of that, okay? And then seeing my team lose, like, that sucks. I feel like they come in bunches, though. You get weeks like this. And I feel like this is one of those weeks where, you know, for whatever reason, the Titans, they came out, and I can't even say they absolutely dominated this game, because at the end of the day, I was not impressed by the Tennessee offense. I mean, they ran the ball 26 times for 69 yards rushing. Their leading rusher was Dante Foreman, who they took off the practice squad. Ryan Tannehill threw for 143 yards on 19 receptions, 19 passes. That's literally a 5.3 average. You know, I'm not overly impressed by the Titans offense. I'm very impressed with the Titans defense. So, you know, at the end of the day, that's really what it comes down to. The Titans have played very well on the road. They're 4-1. They started off, you know, very rough to start the season, getting blown out by the Cardinals. Sure enough, we found out the Cardinals are pretty darn good. And now here this is. So it sucks, okay? It sucks. There's no other way to put it. It sucks when your team loses. It sucks when they lose in front of everybody. It sucks when you have to hear it from everybody. And it sucks because I haven't even gotten to the most annoying part of this that probably didn't decide the game, but were unbearable. And I can already see you guys commenting in it. And it is about the officiating, which was so damn awful. And by the way, let me just make this very clear. I put this on Twitter, and I'm just speaking facts here, guys. I watched just about every game. I've watched just about every game over the last decade, okay? I go back and I watch NFL games I miss because I want to make sure that I have a good, broad, you know, picture, spectrum, and opportunity to see what the league, you know, truly is, who the best players truly are. When you watch the film, when you watch the games over, that's how you know. All the games I've seen, I've never seen the head official, ever. I've never seen him. Where did he come from? And why was he so damn awful? Why was he like affiliate marketing, but an affiliate ref? Like, you have affiliate marketing and you have people sign up, right? I'm sorry, I'm about to vent here, so bear with me. You have the affiliate marketing, so people sign up using a link and you get paid. But it was like affiliate reffing. This guy could not stop throwing the flag, and it was ridiculous. And the disparity of it is just repulsive. I mean, to me, you look at this, the least penalized team in the league had 12 penalties for 115 yards to the Titans' 4 penalties for 19 yards. That is unacceptable. That's irresponsible, and I think the league has to start holding these officials accountable. It's not the reason entirely that the Rams lost, but if you want to make the argument that the Rams might have had a shot at the end if they didn't throw that BS flag on the roughing the passer call when he pushed him on the sidelines, then you would have an argument, in my opinion. I think you're absolutely right. That call's horse. It is garbage. That is absolute garbage call. Here's the thing, okay? The refs are there to officiate the game, keep the game fair, make sure no one cheats when live bullets are going on, right? That's what the officials are for. The officials are not there to control the game, which they always seem to want to do. And I don't understand how on earth you could have called some of the penalties they called. Plus, let's go back to week 2 against the Indianapolis Colts, where Kenny Young accidentally makes contact with an official and is kicked right out of the game. What about that? Because A.J. Brown shoved an official out of the way, and then the official was making sure that Jalen Ramsey wasn't the one he was kicking out. Like, are you kidding me? I don't think I've seen a more one-sided officiating crew than this one in a while. And you want to talk about home cooking? This was the furthest thing from home cooking. This is the home team, and they didn't get any of those calls. When you really think about it, it's why, look, at the penalty, the disparity is ridiculous. And the calls for the Titans, 4 for 19, 12 for 115. You want to tell me the team with the least penalties in the NFL, they committed 12 for 115, while the Titans were like, we're not committing penalties, we're playing by... No. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. The holding call on Whitworth was garbage. There was a lot of just garbage, okay? The Rams didn't deserve to win this game. The offense didn't play well. The defense did play well. Sean McVay didn't coach very well. And the officiating was garbage. But here's the thing. Just because the Rams didn't deserve to win, just because the Rams' offense wasn't great, does not mean that the officials should get a pass for being an abomination on screen. First off, that one guy, I can't stand him because he looks like the dude that rear-ended me a while ago when I was in my car. So I have a bias there. I'm not going to lie. He looks exactly like him. I had some words for that guy, kept it clean, but he looks like him and it pissed me off. That's the first thing. The second thing is that this officiating crew, besides the fact that I've never seen them before, ever, and they just showed up and someone decided, oh, well, I don't know if they've ever officiated before, but let's put them on primetime. That makes sense. Besides all of that, you're taking the skill out of the game, because the Titans' last touchdown drive was entirely aided by officiating. On third down, the Rams get a stop. They have a chance now. It's not a big chance, but they have a slight chance to potentially win the game. And I'm not saying they have a huge chance, but you take that away by throwing the flag there. And then the next play, you throw a flag on a roughing. And eventually that just looks like, the optics there make it look like you just want the other team to win. I mean, I don't get it. So, didn't want to focus too much on the officiating, but no, I wasn't overly impressed with the Titans offense. I thought the Titans defense kicked some butt. I mean, honestly, Jeffrey Simmons, we all knew he was a really good player, but he really balled out. But guys, I mean, the Rams' total yards, 347 to 194. They outplayed them in time of possession. 22 first downs to 16. I mean, really, what it came down to was turnovers. And this is what I said in the preview video. I said, Kevin Byard's a player to watch. And he's somebody who could get a turnover in this one. And we saw the way the Rams responded, which wasn't so great, when Matthew Stafford went deep to Deshaun Jackson. Deshaun Jackson didn't fight for the football, and it was picked off by Byron Murphy. They didn't recover in that game. Plus, they had the fumble from Sony Michel. So I think the defense played very well, the Rams defense. I think the Tennessee Titans defense played very well. But all in all, I think the Rams offense was better than the Titans offense. They were asked to do more. They didn't play as well. They didn't play up to their standards, but the Titans offense was pedestrian in this game. That's what it comes down to. And they were bailed out by a great defensive play. And of course the defense, generating turnovers. That's what happened. So really unfortunate. It's just, it's bad. Like the officiating was awful. And I hate bringing it up. I understand how it sounds like sour grapes. It's really not. I'll call out officials that aren't very good. I just wish the NFL actually cared about their brand. I wish the NFL went out there and was like, you know what? We have all these people watching. We have all these people buying jerseys, memorabilia, following every single little thing. And yet we don't care if the officials will control a game. And on top of that, the players and coaches are absolutely forbidden from ever holding them accountable, because if they ever, God forbid, complain about it, and this is all sports, they complain about it, they get fined. The officials, they can just ruin games and they don't get fined. They're not held to any sort of accountability in the NFL, and that just has to change, because it's getting to the point. There was a really good tweet made by someone I respect a lot, a friend of mine in football Twitter. And I'm going to try to find it. Well, Adam Koffler said the NFL really needs to take a hard look in the mirror with some of these calls. That roughing the passer call on Aaron Donald just ensured the Rams have no chance of winning this game, and it was a bogus call. Brilliant point. Absolutely, totally agree. And it's not a bias thing because he's not a Rams fan. There are people that had a chance to watch this game that weren't Rams fans, that didn't have a dog in the fight, and are just like, this is ridiculous. It's always on them. It's always on that side. So then you look at this one, Jordan Katz, another friend of mine on football Twitter. I put out, just wish the league would take games more seriously. You can't complain about the officials, or you, the player or coach, gets fined. But tonight, 11 penalties to 3. It ended up being 12-4. Announcers criticizing their job. NFL step in, hold these officials accountable. And then my friend Jordan Katz says, another prime example of what I'm saying. Jake is right. There's not a single game played where penalties are 11-3. Just doesn't exist. And yet when the league office looks at this taunting on Ramsey and roughing on Donald, they'll tell this crew, good job. That's the problem. And I agree. I absolutely agree. I'm tired of it, man. I'm absolutely tired of it. I'm tired of it in Rams games. I'm tired of it in Patriots games. I'm tired of it in 49ers games. I don't care who's playing. Like Colin Cowherd said, and I don't always quote Colin, but it's perfect. No one's leaving a game with their wife and kids and saying, honey, I wish there were more flags thrown. That's what I wanted to see today. NFL is a form of entertainment. No one is finding it entertaining to go to, see this stoppage in play, to watch a referee stutter over and over again and, show a sign this way, or not knowing what the hell he's doing. No one wants to watch that. And in the NBA, no one wants to watch free throws. Who the hell wants to watch free throws all game long? No one. No one wants to watch that. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. Just like hockey. Hockey, they at least turn it into like the power play, but no one wants to watch penalties. No one wants to watch guys get sent to the penalty box. Penalties ruin the game if done. Like, playing official is making sure the game is fair. But when you take it up a notch, it ruins the game. So that's all I'm going to say about that, because I will not stop talking about it. I have so many issues with it, and I don't want to get into my whole thoughts on the NHL and why I think shootouts are dumb. So we're not going to go there. But what I will ask you to do, if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to this channel. Please be sure to hit the thumbs up button. We only have 32, but I have almost 150 people in here. So really help me out if you guys hit that thumbs up, also known as a like button. Really help me out. On your phone, if you see the chat, you can just push the chat down, you hit the like. So let's make sure to get that to triple digits. And I'm going to start answering questions and what have you, because we got a lot to discuss, and I'm not going anywhere. I've only been live for 22 minutes, so I understand your pain. We're going to get through this loss together. And we're going to, do our thing. So, yeah, let's keep those likes going at 50. Really do appreciate that. Also appreciate Jordan. Thank you so much for donating. Minus TB, are you concerned at all about how Rams performed against other two winning teams in Arizona and Titans? Also, offense adjustments always take too long. Great question, honestly. I think there is a little bit of a concern. Especially at home. These should be gimme games. You should be able to win these games at home. You struggled against the Lions the last time you were at home, and then you struggle here. I think there's a genuine amount of concern. I think they absolutely have to bounce back against the Niners. Here's the thing. The loss has already happened. You can't change that. So you have 2 losses on your schedule. You are 7-2. You can't let this beat you more. And so as long as the Rams can nip this in the bud now and get ready for games against Green Bay, games against Baltimore, or just let's talk about next week. Don't let one loss keep beating you. Because we saw that with teams this year. We've seen that. We saw that with the Chiefs. Realistically speaking, you can tell a team that is letting their previous loss beat them again. I'm not talking just about being an 0-8 team. I'm talking about being a winning team, a contender, losing a game that you expected to win and getting embarrassed, and then letting that carry over and affect the next game that you play. Don't allow that. I also think that they're going to get a little bit of a kick in the ass, so to speak, when they get Von Miller. I think Von Miller, having him in the huddle, I think Von Miller having him just on the sidelines playing, I think he's going to be so energetic. I think it's going to help them. It's going to help their pass rush. We know that. It's going to help their run defense. I'm really excited for Von Miller. And honestly, some people don't think Von Miller is a need after tonight. The defense looked great, but Von Miller is a need in a way that you might not realize. How many strip sacks does this defense get? This defense seems to, pick off passes left and right. They're one of the league leaders in interceptions. But how many strip sacks is this team getting? I think having Von Miller off the edge is going to allow you to generate those turnovers, which are equalizers and second chances for poor drives and 3-and-outs. Not having that tonight hurt. So, not to mention, I love Van Jefferson, but I definitely think Odell would fit in this offense. And I definitely think you could definitely rotate them a little bit. Because Van's not 100% ready to take over a starting job. He's a guy that's right there. He's right on the cusp. But he dropped that not touchdown, but he dropped that big time play down the field. He's had those moments, and I love him. I defend him more than, maybe more than anybody. But, I think there is a little bit of a youth to Van. Van is very good, don't get me wrong. But making the idea that you couldn't go out and get Odell Beckham Jr. because you have Van Jefferson already, because you have Ben Skoranek. Jacob Harris might be out for the rest of the year. We don't know. That looked awful. That looked like an awful knee injury, which is really unfortunate. So, anyone that's against the Odell move, if they could get him, if they could swing that, I think it makes a lot of sense. And I think this kind of goes to show you guys, it's not overkill. Isn't that funny? How Von Miller's considered overkill by people. Von Miller's like, oh, defense is already playing so well. Why did they? Von Miller was not overkill. Von Miller was a need. They have not had a pass rusher off the edge like that, and you're trying to win a Super Bowl. It's like the MLB reference I made the other day. In the MLB, it's no longer, we need one ace. No, you need multiple aces if you want to win a World Series. It's that simple. Long gone are the days of having one ace and 4 solid starters. You need multiple aces. And in the NFL, when you're running more 3 receiver sets, you can absolutely justify going out and getting Odell Beckham Jr. 100%. And furthermore, this offense was not perfect tonight, and they lost. So there's no such thing as overkill. This team's coming off a loss. This team's coming off one of the worst offensive performances they've had this season. And you could absolutely justify for that reason and other reasons bringing on another receiver, the talent and the quality of Odell Beckham Jr. So, yeah. That's what that is what I'll say on OBJ. We won't know. He doesn't get, because the Browns are annoying. They're not waiving him until Monday, so he officially gets waived on Monday. We won't find out until Tuesday if he clears waivers, but it sounds to me like he is absolutely done. He will not want to go anywhere if he is claimed. He does not want to go anywhere. He wants to pick his team. He wants to sign. It's why the Browns restructured him, and I get it. So, for the first time in his career, he'll have an opportunity to pick his team. Rams need to find a way to protect Stafford. Well, they've been doing that. This game was different. The Titans did a nice job. A lot of those, those crazy stunts, they just did a really nice job, I thought. You had Bud Dupree, Harold Landry, who's one of the top sack leaders in the league. Jeffrey Simmons playing all out. Danico Autry played some great snaps this game. So, they ended up with how many sacks? 5. Rams actually had 3 sacks. The issue was with all those boots, the bootleg and getting sacked on those, they lost 41 yards. There were times where the Rams had to punt because Stafford kind of took them out of field goal range, trying to run away. So, why wouldn't he? I feel like I'm handling it well. Is it me, Jake, or does this offense seem like it's missing something? I wouldn't say that. I think it was just a bad night. I mean, I'm annoyed. I'm pissed. I hate losses. I'm not going to sit here and try to be a humble, oh, they played so well. No, I hate losses. I'm not going to lie. But I also don't think it's the end of the world or even close to it. And I think this is still, if not the best offense, and if not the best team, it's one of the best offenses in the league and one of the best teams. So it's still not, there's no such thing as panic mode. If they lose against the Niners, I'd start to panic because then you have the Packers likely with Aaron Rodgers coming up. You have another game with the Arizona Cardinals. It starts to get a little tough down the stretch. You finish the season against Baltimore and San Fran back-to-back to end the year. So, Jake, this game gives me 2018 at Bears vibes. Don't know if Vrabel came up with a blueprint for the league versus the Rams, but I expect similar looks with other teams. Hope McVay can actually adapt. Great comment, actually, Henry. Kind of gave me those vibes as well. I think you saw early on, it's not really that Stafford isn't capable of it, because you saw Stafford rallied back. He didn't have his best game, but at the end of the day, I think he gave the Rams a chance to win. I'll say this right now. This may not be a popular opinion, but I'll say this right now. I think Tyler Higbee was in bounds. I think that was a touchdown. I don't understand how on earth that you could overturn that when his feet are clearly in on at least 3 angles. Okay? The one angle they said didn't look definitive or whatever, keep this in mind. The call on the field was touchdown. So even if it could have been on, his foot could have been out, all of that, whatever. Even if that's the case, you have 3 angles where it's not clear, and then you have one where it looks like it is, but keep this in mind, and what no one is talking about, it's not as simple as his foot being like that, okay? If you look in the other angles, his foot is up like this, his heel. That's he's on his heel, basically, or, he has his foot up like that. It wasn't conclusive enough to overturn what the call was on the field. I'm not saying you're wrong that his foot was out of bounds, but I'm saying it wasn't clear because what people don't understand is there's angle manipulation with your eyes. And so because of that, if you run like this, so this is your foot, and this is the sideline or whatever. And so say you're like this, what does that look like? Well, it looks like that's over the sideline. But if it's in the air, there's no way to tell from the angle they were showing. So I hated that with a passion. You know, and there are people hating on that, and, you know, whatever, hating on kicking the field goal. I totally understood the field goal. You know, I just think really the game was over, though, when they didn't convert that 4th and short. They ran that bootleg to the left side, and they knew what, you know, Stafford got hurt or whatever. I don't know. It just, you know, it's, yeah, I don't think it was clear. I definitely don't think it was clear. It was a great play, and the Titans are lucky because that game would have been a lot different if the call stood on the field. And I've seen it before. You know, I've seen it before where, you know, there's been a call that was clear and obvious it should have been overturned that wasn't. So if they just happen to have that type of official, this is a different game. If they happen to have an official that doesn't want to call, you know, the BS roughing, which, I mean, Terry McAulay is laughing at this point. They're the officiating director or whatever, the expert in the booth. He's laughing. It's not, they're like, that's not a penalty. That's the type of night. You had legendary Al Michaels calling out the officials for being awful. He flat out said, he's like, you know, the officiating is just, you know, this hasn't been the best game. Or, you know, he said something like that. Or, oh, what do you know, another flag. I love that. I love Al Michaels, man. I could listen to him announce any game. Just a total, just, you know, I don't think OBJ is going to the Raiders. They don't need OBJ. They need Deshaun Jackson to replace Henry Ruggs because Henry Ruggs was their deep threat. Henry Ruggs was, I mean, that's not how I would have used a first-round pick, but they were using a guy that essentially was averaging 18 yards plus per reception, so they replaced him with Deshaun Jackson. OBJ wouldn't make any sense because they want to get, obviously they need to replace that, they fill that void, but they still want to get guys like Waller, they want to get Drake, they have Jacobs, they have, you know, Renfro. They're not even using Brian Edwards. That's a guy they like a lot. Like, they want to get all these guys involved. Adding another, like, an OBJ there would not make any sense. So, you know, I think going out and getting Djax kind of solidified they're not going to get. There's no, Djax couldn't have gone to the Raiders. Oh, no, I know Djax went to the Raiders. I'm saying OBJ. There's no way OBJ could have gone to the Raiders yet because he has to go through waivers. And then once he goes through waivers, if he's not claimed, then he could sign. I agree with you. Love Al Michaels. Yeah, so for people criticizing Matthew Stafford for not going down, there is no way in hell that he was going to take that sack. I understand it looks bad. I understand it looks like he's forcing something like Wentz and, you know, throwing a pick. But in the heat of the moment, he doesn't feel like he's safe with forward progress. And there's no reason he should feel that way. That's a bang-bang play. And with this officiating crew, they wouldn't have gotten that right. That's the funniest thing of all. Just because Terry McAulay said that does not mean that this officiating crew of all people would have gotten that call right. I know, I saw that. Do you know who reported that, by the way? The OBJ stuff? That was Florio, Mike Florio, who does not like the Rams. So I'm not buying that. I don't think it's a shock that Mike Florio, who doesn't like the Rams, happened to put two of their rivals in the discussion for OBJ in that report. I'm not surprised at all. I'm not putting any stock in that. I'm just not. They absolutely would have called a safety. What do you think McVay is doing wrong on offense? Great question, Henry. Here's what I would say about Sean McVay right now. I think he's an amazing play designer, but I stand by it. I don't think he's the best play caller. I think sometimes he gets too cute, And I think he takes his foot off the gas when he's got something working. You know, case in point, Darrell Henderson, 11 carries, 55 yards. They couldn't stop him. And Darrell Henderson was not only getting those yards, consistently, but the way he was getting them was impressive. This isn't somebody that's running through, a gaping hole, on the offensive line. If you look, you go back, you watch this game again, he was creating. He's creating yards, just like Cam Akers does, And I think that's the thing here. That's what shows a good running back, a guy that's not just taking what the defense gives him, but getting more than what the defense is giving him. Giving you an inch and you taking it a mile. That is what Henderson was doing. And when you're in a rhythm like that, to take him out is questionable. Now, I understand he had an ankle injury, but, he came back in and looked fine. And then they really wanted to feed Michel. Guys, I'm going to be real with you. I liked the Sony Michel pickup. I like Sony Michel. Sony Michel is running with the same offensive line that Darrell Henderson is running with, and running at a, way less rate. First off, yards per carry and efficiency. It almost defeats the purpose of putting in Sony Michel for the power back role and the short yardage situation role, when Darrell Henderson's just a better runner altogether. I mean, it's not even close at this point. It's not even up for debate. One guy is a lot better than the other. I'm not saying Sony Michel's bad, but what I am saying is that with the same offensive line, this guy's averaging in the 3s yards per carry, and it seems like each game Henderson is, levitating around the 5 yard per carry range. So, it's starting to annoy me when he comes out. I hate to be like that. I do like Michel. I liked the pickup, but, I agree with that. When they're running the ball regularly, fine, but they're not, That's another thing. Watson, you're absolutely right. And I think tonight really showed you. Tyler Higbee, man, can really help you in this offense, and he's not getting utilized enough. This is the first game where I felt like he was truly utilized the right way, had the BS touchdown called back. But, I absolutely agree with you. I think there has to be a way to get him involved more over the middle, have that bigger body for Stafford. I was really annoyed by that. Criticize Stafford. He didn't play his best, but, Jared Goff apologists have no leg to stand on. The touchdown, by the way, I'm going to call it a touchdown because it looked like a touchdown, and it I'm not going to call it an incomplete pass because the dude caught it and it'll be, misleading. The touchdown pass that Matthew Stafford threw to Tyler Higbee would never have been thrown by Jared Goff. The degree of difficulty to do that, first off, Jared Goff would have gotten strip sacked. Do you know how I know that? Do you know why I know that? Because Jared Goff isn't going to do this. He's not going to throw the sidearm pass that Stafford's mastered. But furthermore, he's not stepping up in the pocket the way Stafford did there. He's not moving around, manipulating, and creating with that arm angle. He's not doing that. He would have gone all the way back, and he would have gotten hit from behind, and the ball would have come out. That's what would have happened. I just don't understand how we can't get past this as a full-on fan base. Most of you are. But for the people that cannot get past the fact that Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford are night and day, as far as Matthew Stafford's here and Jared Goff's here, we can't get past that part. So we have to constantly root against our own team to kind of just make us look better. Here's the fact, okay? The Rams could have Jared Goff right now at quarterback. Do you know what the record would be with Jared Goff instead of Matthew Stafford? Probably 6-3. 6-3, 5-4. It's still a really good football team. But the games, when Stafford is elevating players around him, he wouldn't be able to do that. Goff never did that. So this idea where we're even going to compare the two is ridiculous. It's just not even, not even really worth our time, to be honest with you. The offensive line struggled tonight. For the most part, They did a nice job protecting. This is about the same offensive line. Actually, it is 100% the same offensive line, except for Brian Allen, that Goff had last year. That Goff, fans of Goff were saying that he had such a hard time because the offensive line was terrible. This is 4 out of 5 guys last year, and they were a lot better, I thought. They've played a lot better this year than last year, but here's why. Because I think we focus so much on the offensive line, we don't focus enough on what the quarterback means for the offensive line to succeed. If you're making the wrong steps or not making steps at all in the pocket, if you don't know how to manipulate with your eyes, things like that, if you're not trying to move, you are making the offensive line look bad. Think about this, okay? First 2 sacks of the game were on Stafford. The offensive line, as far as I'm concerned, only gave up 3 sacks. Stafford held on to the ball too long. They recovered sacks. That's on Stafford. If it's past 3 minutes of you holding on to the football, 3 minutes, 3 seconds, you are to blame, not the offensive line. See, some people believe that the offensive line should be able to block players for 2 hours. And it's like they're in the pocket all. That's not how it works. It helps. That's not how it works. So when Stafford early on in the game was holding on the ball, I understand guys are covered. You got to get rid of that ball. You got to throw it away. So those are on Stafford, those 2. The 3 though, you're talking about him immediately getting pressure as soon as he, got the ball. That's not on Stafford. But, when you step up into the pressure like Jared Goff did, I'm talking literally stepping into sacks, which Goff did. That is on the quarterback. And, that's what I'll say. I mean, really, there's no point of comparing the two. One has not won a game without Sean McVay. As underhanded as that sounds, I don't really care. He's 0-15 without Sean McVay. I appreciate the contributions he had for the Rams, but if we're still going to sit here and talk about why, nitpick every little thing that happens with Matthew Stafford when, coming into this game, his passer rating was 118, which was the 8th highest in the NFL through 8 games for any quarterback in NFL history going back to 1970. If we're going to keep nitpicking about that to make us look better about Jared Goff, if we were Jared Goff fans last year, we need to find a bigger hobby, a better hobby, but more important things to talk about, more important things to do, because that's just simply not it. I did notice. Brandon, what's up? Appreciate you donating. Hey, Jake, terrible performance on offense. I didn't play offense. No, I'm kidding. Defense played great, but O-line got blown up too much. We can use Odell in this offense for juice. I agree. I absolutely agree. I thought the defense, played great. I thought the offensive line, kind of blew it, in this game. I thought the offense was disappointing, and Odell he could have an actual usage in this offense. And, for people that are, concerned, why would Odell sign here? Players don't have that quick judgment. There's no way Von Miller's sitting here and thinking on the sidelines like, wow, I wish I wasn't on this 7-2 team. No, there's no way he's thinking that. None. There's no thought. Because unlike us, the fans, we may think, okay, this is a win for the Rams. Players don't do that. They don't, because they respect other teams more than the fans do. I mean, it's a fact. This is a brotherhood. You have to keep that in mind. You and I see Daniel Sorensen, who literally, when quarterbacks target him, they're averaging 158.3 passer rating, which is perfect. He hasn't really broken up a pass, and he gave up another touchdown to the rookie today. Or not the rookie, but the first ever start, Jordan Love. But the thing is that you and I are looking at that. That's how we see it. Maybe coaches see it that way. But you have to keep in mind, and this goes the same thing with David Long, when we're criticizing David Long or what have you. This is a brotherhood. So there are players that played, with David Long at Michigan, against David Long in the Big Ten, with David Long, former Rams teammate, against David Long, against the Rams. And they've seen him, and they're like, this is a nice guy. This is my guy. Again, brotherhood, not going to hate, right? I don't feel like NFL players look down on other teams the way fans do. And so this idea that, Odell wouldn't want to sign with the Rams because they just lost to the Titans like the way they did. I just don't think that exists. It's a very week-to-week thing. And honestly, look at how happy everybody was after the game. I mean, everyone looked happy because at the end of the game, like, yes, their job is still, they're still on the clock, so to speak, right? They still, they go to the locker room. They still have to go through the whole locker room speech. They still have to, get ready to leave. But this is like the end of their shift. This is like you seeing your friends. So it's not the same thing. It's just not. So, like, Odell won't look at the Rams and be like, oh, they just lost to the Titans. I'm not going to sign there. Well, if that's your argument, then why is he wanting to sign with the Seahawks? Why is that even, a reputable report? That's my point. I don't think teams do that. Teams do look at 7-2, 8-1, 9-0, a lot better than, say, 4-4, 3-5, 2-6, 1-7. But, a team coming off a loss, they don't care about that. That's not a thing. I don't think Goff had a better chance to win this game. This would have been a nightmare with Jared Goff. And I think the problem is I don't think a lot of people hate Jared Goff. A lot of the Rams fans, I just feel like they have, over time, it's been like he's been shoved down their throat about how great he is. And, the constant, really the issue is that, at least for me, I notice, is the constant shoving him down people's throats when he was clearly the weakest link on the team. You're as strong as the weakest link. He really was. I mean, I did the table breakdown of the Rams offenses going, through the first 8 games of the season with Sean McVay. Look at Jared Goff in 2018 versus 2019 and 2020. He just fell off. He's not the same quarterback. He lost confidence. He is somewhat broken, and he's an average quarterback. He hasn't gotten better. He has the same depth of target as last year. He is the same quarterback. That doesn't mean he sucks, and that doesn't mean that the Rams have anything to do with that. I mean, that's what he is. So, again, this idea where we're just going to shove him down people's throats like, oh, well, he would have won this game. If we're going to do that every time, man, don't waste your time doing it. And I shouldn't waste my time talking about it. But here we are. Again, I'm wasting my time talking about it. But either way, look, Stafford, the preparation is unmatched. He'll be ready. They'll come out. I mean, they have a road game against the Niners, and then they have a road game against the Packers. Back-to-back tough games. No matter what you think about the Niners after today, I'm guaranteeing you the Rams are not going to get the lackadaisical Niners that you saw today against the Cardinals. They're just not. They're going to get a team that's ready, and they're going to be ready to fight on primetime. They always give the Rams issues. I expect them to come out strong. I expect that to not be an easy game, but I expect the Rams to win. And the Packers game. You go back to Lambeau last year. You had Jared Goff as your starter. Last year, Aaron Donald wasn't healthy enough to really play in that game long enough, and you didn't have Cooper Kupp. So now you go back to Green Bay, looking for revenge. Huge tiebreaker game, So, I mean, it's that simple. And then you have the Jaguars, then you're at the Cardinals, Seahawks, Vikings, Ravens, 49ers. I mean, it's not the easiest schedule. It's not the hardest schedule. So they just have to win the games that they're supposed to win. And this, again, I understand it's week 9, but it's also the 9th game that Sean McVay, Matthew Stafford, and company have all played together. This is a newer offense. I can't stress that enough. This is not the same offense that they were running with Jared Goff. It's just not. So things will get better, and the offensive line has played this bad all year. So, it was one of those games where they just weren't on, and Titans had a great game plan coming in. So credit to them. Let's see. Someone said, hey, Jake, and I'm trying to find it. or Jake. There we go. Ryan Rover. Jake, you think Stafford seems like he was so used to always looking for the big play passes from his years with the Lions because they were behind and isn't used to taking the easy throws? Not entirely. Not a bad question, Ryan, but I don't think that was the case. You know, I think at the end of the day, he did take a lot of those easier throws and gave him a chance down the stretch. You know, some things that could have changed the game. I mean, obviously the score is what it is, 28-16, but you know, the Rams got some stops on the defensive side, and you know, if that was a touchdown and they didn't overturn it, could have been a different game. You know, they decided to just run the ball instead of going for whatever they ran on 4th and short. They had opportunities. I don't think this is entirely on Stafford. I don't think they can bring his playoff record into it because, I mean, bottom line is, as bad as Stafford looked at times tonight, he bounced back. He gave them an opportunity. I think the play calling kind of failed them at the end. I mean, you know, he started off really poorly, and at the end of the day, I mean, he gave them a chance to win the game. You know, I mean, he threw for 294 yards. You know, I mean, he battled back. It wasn't his best game, but he gave him a chance, and it just didn't come to pass, you know. What happened? The 4th and short, I hated that play call. I hated, you know, the boot. But yeah. You're right, Julio. You're absolutely right. The 1999 Rams lost to the Titans. They started off down 21-0. The Rams came all the way back, and they lost, and then they ended up beating the Titans in the Super Bowl. So that did actually happen. No, I hear you, Ryan, but I think that's more so McVay. You know, I think really it's part of, you know, I think a lot of it is they sorry, I just had an ad come up randomly that was like yelling at me. You know, I think what it really comes down to though with that is that, you know, Sean McVay, he has a guy that is able to make the throws that his previous guy couldn't, and so I think he gets a little cute with that. I think he, instead on 3rd and 1 where, you know, maybe you go for the easy you know, quick slant or a dump off or you run it, he's going deep down the field. And I get it. You have that weapon, but you know, there are times where they're doing that in a game like this where it's like, maybe now's not the time, you know? But hey guys, we have over 170 people in here. Can we please get the likes past 100? I would really appreciate it. Again, likes or thumbs up, whatever you want to call it, just hit that button. Really helps me out. And be sure to hit the subscribe button as well. You know, also really helps me out. Jake, does 80 stop the 4th down Tannehill run if he doesn't get run into by his own man? No. But what I will say is that they should have seen that coming, because anybody that watches the Titans knows that Ryan Tannehill loves to do that. The Titans love to run that. Todd Downing has called that many times, you know, since, you know, Ryan Tannehill has been there, as well going back to, you know, when Arthur Smith was there. That's a staple in their playbook at the goal line. I knew that. I knew what they were running. I can't believe they got fooled by that. And you know why they got fooled by that? Because Leonard Floyd, as great as he's been this year, messed up. He has got to stay contained. You're playing contained there. If he plays contained, he's going to be able to, he's going to be able to chase down Ryan Tannehill and make that play on 4th down, and it's a whole different ballgame. So that pissed me off. I was annoyed by that. No, and that's another thing, Nolan. They didn't need to blitz on that 3rd down. That is just so annoying to me. Stop. Just stop doing it. You didn't need it. You're getting in there with a 3-4 man rush. Why are you blitzing? I thought really what it shows is that, you know, this defense hit another level tonight. I think they showed you. And this is without Von Miller. You know, I think Darius Williams being back was huge. If we're looking at the good is the fact the leading receiver for the Titans had 42 yards on 11 targets. I mean, say what you will, because I know there's a lot of people that are going to just trash this defense because of the 28 points. But, I mean, you know, I'm impressed by this secondary playing the soft zone, bend don't break that they play. A.J. Brown, 5 catches, 42 yards. Julio Jones, 4 catches, 35 yards. Jeff Swaim, 4 catches, 29 yards. And then Nick Westbrook-Akeen, 1 catch, 14 yards. Like I said, their offense was pedestrian. Would it have been that way with Derrick Henry? Who knows? But the point is, this is the Tennessee Titans right now. And at the end of the day, the offense didn't do enough to win this game. The defense generated turnovers. They gave them extra opportunities, and they even gave them 2 scores. Yes, I'm going to count that as a score because they got down in the goal line. That the offense didn't do. So, you know, at the end of the day, the offense, they had 14. They scored on the Tannehill one, and they were, I mean, they were basically gifted by the officials the last touchdown there to whoever it was. No, not Adrian Peterson. Who was it? Who had the last touchdown? Why do I, like, that's just a blur to me. I don't even remember. Oh, it was the Adrian Peterson touchdown run. That's what it was. Yeah, that whole drive should have ended before they got to the 50. Like, the officials kept that drive going. So, they got the stop on 3rd down. They threw in a BS roughing the passer call, which even the, you know, I can't even talk right now, apparently. Even the announcers disagreed with. And that's about as simple as I can make that. Let's keep this thing going. Thumbs up. 94 likes. Let's get it going. When you thumbs up, it tells YouTube you like this video. When it tells YouTube you like this video, it recommends to other people who also like the Rams videos that you're watching. Because it was BS. Hey, Jake, do you think McVay should just give the play calling to O'Connell when they get into the red zone? I don't think he would do that, but I would honestly love if O'Connell got a chance to call plays. Because I think McVay is the best at play designing and scheming, but I don't think he's the best play caller. I've said this over and over and over again. I would like to see O'Connell get a shot. I stand by that. Really, Stafford has the most pick sixes of any quarterback. Hey, Jake, do you really believe we're getting OBJ? I do. I think OBJ is going to go to the Rams. And I like I said, I can be wrong. I don't think it's just hope. I actually think OBJ is going to go to the Rams. As long as if he doesn't clear waivers, I think he'll force his way there. I mean, why would you not want to play with that team? After tonight especially, I think it shows you that you could still find a role in this offense. You know? What's up, Jake? Super disappointed I spent money going to this game. Sorry to hear that, Will. I hope you enjoyed it, at least. Why do I think he'll go to the Rams? Well, one, he loves LA. I believe he has a house there and lives there. He's friends with Russell Westbrook. He's friends with LeBron James. You know, he's got friends, right? But, you know, two, I think going to the we not me culture, I think going to the Rams, playing, you know, for Sean McVay and all of that, I think would really help him. I think it would show everyone and basically be a little bit of a, you know, put it on your resume type deal for when he becomes a free agent after the season. So I think it'd be that, you know, for that. You'd be playing with Matthew Stafford. You'd be playing in the #1 DVOA offense in the league. You know, you'd have an opportunity to play alongside, you know, some really good underappreciated and, you know, unselfish receivers, which would also help you in turn. I think it would turn you into a better receiver. You'd be coached by Eric Yarbers, one of the best, you know, receiver coaches in football. You know, you have a friend there in Von Miller. You'd be playing with Von Miller, Jalen Ramsey, you know, AD. There's a lot of stars there. I just think at the end of the day, OBJ, you know, wherever he wants to go, it doesn't make any sense for him to go to Seattle, who right now at the moment, they don't look that great. They're not in the thick of things, where if you're going to the Rams or you're going to, say, the Packers or a team like that, you have a chance to contribute and you have a chance to win a Super Bowl. I'm not going to a team just to assume that I can, you know, get more playing time, you know, if I'm OBJ, because he's going to be a free agent after the season anyway. This is a Super Bowl run. He wants to play for a contender. Seattle's not a contender at this moment. They might be when Russell Wilson comes back, but they're not a contender right now. You think that team, and I'm not talking they're not a contender for the playoffs, but you're telling me right now that a contender, which I would call Super Bowl contender, that's all a contender matters, right? We're not talking about the playoffs. We're not talking about second place trophies. We're talking about who can win a Super Bowl. Why would OBJ say he wants to play for the Seahawks? Why would the Seahawks go to the Super Bowl? Seahawks aren't that good of a football team. I've said this. They were exposed. You know? And plus, last year, they had a better team, and they lost in the first round at home to the Rams. So, I don't put too much stock in that report. If he wants to go to the 49ers, fine. If they lose to the Rams, they'll be 3-6. If he wants to go to the Seahawks, fine. They're 3-5, I believe. I mean, who's the other option? You know? The Raiders? The Raiders make sense, except I don't know if the Raiders would take him because the Raiders are trying to get other guys involved. And they just got Deshaun Jackson. He fills a need. You know? And I think with the injury of Jacob Harris, we'll see how serious it is, but the Rams are down to Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, Van Jefferson, and then their depth after that is J.J. Koski, Ben Skoranek, and that's it. So one guy goes down, and all of a sudden you're putting J.J. Koski or Ben Skoranek right in the crosshairs. You wouldn't want Odell Beckham Jr. if you could afford it. And if he clears waivers, you're going to be able to afford him. So, you know. How do you feel about Jalen playing the star position? I personally prefer him shadowing the wide receiver one. I like the star. You know, and the reason I like the star position, the reason I like him playing that, go back, watch that one play where they ran some trickery. It was like a kind of a flea flicker type deal, fake end around, pitch, all of that. He blew that play up. If he is shadowing the number one receiver, that play goes for 20, maybe 30 yards. Jalen Ramsey playing the star has actually transformed the defense because now they have him in the middle, around the 5-yard mark from the line of scrimmage. It allows him, with his unbelievable agility, you know, his explosiveness, all of that, it allows him to blow up those plays. They're not getting destroyed on those slip screens the way they could because Jalen Ramsey is blowing those plays up. That's the thing. You take Ramsey out of that, I don't know who's going to be able to play that as well as he. Well, no one. I'll make that very clear. Jalen Ramsey right now could play linebacker, and he'd be the best linebacker in football because he's basically doing it. So the idea of not playing him there and having another guy do it, they wouldn't be able to do it as well. The thing that makes Jalen Ramsey so great is he doesn't just have ball hawking skills. He's not just a great cover corner. He's not just great in zone coverage, man coverage, what have you. He's not just physical. No, he's not just incredibly intelligent. The thing that makes Jalen so great at that position that no other corner cares about is that he is the best tackling corner that we've seen in a long time. He just has the right ability. Like, he knows what he's doing. He finishes plays. When does he miss a tackle? That's the thing. You take him out of the star position, teams will be able to dink and dunk. They'll have their way with this defense. He's already stopped plays becoming massive gains because he was playing the star position and he does a little bit of everything. He is the thumper that everybody was talking about that they wanted in Micah Kaiser coming out of the draft. He's legitimately a thumping corner. That is what he is. Why would the Lakers trade Westbrook? What are you talking about? Yeah, I don't think they're trading Westbrook. I don't think OBJ's going to the Cardinals. I mean, the Chargers, it's like they can barely get everyone involved, you know? He could go to the Chargers, absolutely, but, you know, they weren't even really interested in Deshaun Jackson. They have a lot of talent that they just don't get involved. He meant Cooper Kupp is on pace to put up, like, crazy numbers. Like, Jerry Rice led the league in receipt. He had just some monster numbers, and it's really like a term of speech, so to speak, because Jerry Rice had the season, you know, when Isaac Bruce had, I think it was 1738 as far as, you know, receiving yards. And then after that, I think, like, you know, the same day after he finished his game, Jerry Rice beat him the last week of the season. I think he's talking about that. Yeah, he's on pace to break the record. He's on pace to break Calvin Johnson's record. Which, by the way, isn't that intriguing? So you're telling me if Cooper Kupp breaks Calvin Johnson's record, that means Matthew Stafford threw to the last 2 receiving yards in a single season record holders. That's an interesting thought. Westbrook's fine. You know, it's all Brandon, I'll just say this. It's all like media hype and all that. That, you know, it's a narrative. You know, Westbrook can't play in LA. Westbrook and LeBron don't coexist, whatever. LeBron's been hurt. So the fact that Westbrook's there has actually helped them because he's been able to fit in and take over LeBron's role. Also, LeBron's taken somewhat of a step back this season as far as the role that he was taking on. So, you know, I think it's an overblown narrative. Russell Westbrook's fine. I just think he's, you know, one of the most underrated players in the league and the most love-hate players I've ever seen. So, you know. No, you're right, Patrick. I do think that the Rams will get back on track on the right foot, and I do think they'll beat the Niners on Monday Night Football. But, of course, you know, we'll see. I don't think the Rams need a field stretcher. Wouldn't have worked tonight. You know, the reason the deep plays don't work as well is because the Titans really, they went all out to stop that tonight. They dropped 8 in the coverage early on, got Stafford a little uncomfortable, having a lot of time in the pocket. You see him bouncing on, you know, on his feet and like getting ready to throw it, and just, you know, I think at the end of the day though, they got to play better than this, and they will. This doesn't change my opinion of them as far as the best team in the league. I still think they are. And I'm really excited to see Von Miller play. I was kind of pissed that Von Miller didn't play tonight. And I understand it's not his fault. But I don't know. I felt like it was kind of lame. And I thought they should have played him. Sure enough, I mean, I'm sure he could have helped. But credit to the Titans defense. Kevin Byard, Jeffrey Simmons, all those guys. Because they played a hell of a game tonight. They shut down. You can look at it in multiple ways. But the fact is, the Titans' defense shut down the best offense in DVOA right now. So, you know, credit to them. Are there some concerns? I'm sure people, you know that the mainstream, they're going to dive into this and be like, the Rams, now that I think about it, they've only beaten the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but they lost to the Cardinals and they lost to the Titans and they only beat on the bad teams. I know it's coming. It doesn't matter what anyone has to say. Don't let that bother you. Don't let it ruin your Monday, because at the end of the day, all that matters is the end result. The Rams are going to prove themselves one way or another. If they're just a team that beats on the crappier teams in the league, fine, they'll show us that. But they'll likely show us they're not. And I wouldn't bet against this team, because when you're playing the long game, right now, the short game it didn't look all that great, right? May have put some money on this game. You may have felt confident about this game. It didn't end the way you expected. But if you're playing the long game, the Rams are the best bet in the NFL. Watch as Von Miller gets comfortable in that defense. Watch. This defense already looked a lot better this week in the Texans game, and the Giants, like, they're starting to really get some momentum building. That's something that isn't being said. And it's something the stats are lying about, because you see 28 points and you're like, oh, the defense didn't play that well. But I see it. I don't look at it like that. I look at it, the defense, watching the film, watching the game live. This defense is finding its stride. It, coming in this game was leading the league in sacks. Coming in this game was one of the top teams. I believe they were tied for first in the league in interceptions. This team has what it takes on the defensive side, and the offense was killing it this year. And I still feel like they could be so much better. In this game, they could have been a lot better, and they lost. But they'll bounce back. Like I said, if you have any good things to take away from this game, the defense once again showcased against a good team that they are coming into their own, and they have reinforcements and Von Miller on the way. And oh, by the way, losing Sebastian Joseph Day should have been a massive loss, and I'm not saying it isn't, but guys like Greg Gaines and Ashawn Robinson stepping up, holding the Titans to under 70 yards rushing, that's the type of crap I'm talking about that it's going to take. Because the team that wins the Super Bowl doesn't necessarily mean they're the best team. The team that wins the Super Bowl is the best team that adapted when things didn't go their way, that faced adversity and powered through. And that's what it comes down to. So one way or another, the Rams are going to be battle tested. They're going to figure out what they are. I'm going to go with the long here. I believe the Rams win the Super Bowl. I believe the Rams are the best team. I think they got better with Von Miller. I think tonight sucked. They'll bounce back. I think we're finally going to see it. We're finally going to see it. They're going to finally beat the 49ers. McVay's finally going to get over that monkey on his back with Kyle Shanahan. They're going to do it. And, I think we'll look back on this. You learn more in your losses than you do in your wins. This could help the Rams more than we think. But hey, hope that helped. I understand this is somewhat of a therapeutic session for people. I understand this is the last thing you're seeing before you go to bed, which I'm honored. The last thing you wanted to see before you went to bed. And you're not even kidding. The last thing you wanted to see was my face. I'm honored. I'm humbled by that. But I got to tell you, it's been therapeutic for me as well. It's fun for me. I enjoy you guys. We have a lot of fun on here, no doubt. And we're going to keep it going. I like doing the nonstop lives. I like just making all of the videos live now. I might as well just call this Jake Ellenbogen Live, like the channel or whatever. But, I'm excited. Excited what the future has to hold for this team. I'm excited about the channel. I see we're growing at a rapid rate. Over the last 2 weeks, I've seen the subs are starting to go up. I mean, we're getting close to the 8,000 mark, which I'm really excited about. I'm really thrilled about there. But, I think that's going to do it for me. So, really do appreciate you guys. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, by the way, at JKBogan. If you want to ever get in touch with me, my DMs are open. I may not get back to you immediately, but I will get back to you at some point. Be sure to, of course, I saw the Nightmares comment, Joseph. That's funny. Be sure to subscribe, like, and comment. Once again, liking, thumbs upping, same deal. It helps the algorithm. It helps the channel. But tell your friends if you like me. All right? If you like my show, if you have a Rams friend, or I tried to say fan and friend at the same time, and I failed. But if you have a friend out there that likes the Rams that doesn't know about the Jake Ellenbogen channel, the 85% LA Rams channel, make sure you fill them in on it, because I love new people. I love, when new people show up, and I love, the consistent people as well. We're just trying to grow here. So really do appreciate you guys making me a part of your therapeutic session following the Rams loss, and part of your Monday morning, Sunday night, whatever you want to call it. But I gotta go. So appreciate you. I will see you guys soon, and you be good people. And I don't even know what I was gonna. I'm tired, but you guys be good people. All right. I'll see you guys soon. Later.